My name is Radek Schmidt. I'm the International Business Manager working currently with JPro. I've been working with outsourcing services for many years now, both in Poland and internationally. So I hope I could give you some insight how to fall in love with outsourcing, how to start your journey through outsourcing services, especially within our IT industry. Today's agenda is related to falling in love, let's say. So we've got the first date, developing the relationship, then we'll go to the marriage. We try to avoid marital quarrels, and at the end I'll be waiting for your questions. You can just write them anytime. Okay then, so let's start with the first date. Just as in a regular relationship, you would be looking for a first date, and either it is casual or long-term, you would be going through the very same or mostly, in most cases, similar scenario. First of all, it's good to be prepared. I mean, you as a company looking for outsourcing services, you should prepare yourself. And, well, think of the reasons behind looking for external provider. Why actually looking for such a company? What good things that company can actually bring to your company? You should list the business rationale and the potential benefits for you. You should be familiar with those. You should be familiar to and be prepared to tell about those points to the possible service provider. Well, just present yourself simply, what you do, what's your business about. Remember that they may be new to the area of the business that we are working in, so that's important to pass such information. Be prepared to spend some time to do initial research. Initial research meaning both inside your company, on the things you do. Maybe you got some projects you are looking to outsource, or maybe you are looking for some longer and stable and wide type of cooperation with a company. So, or maybe you are a startup company and looking only for to build MVP. So all those are different things, and depending on what type of company you are, just think of the rationale behind looking for the service provider. The initial research means also looking outside, looking into either it is Europe or is it India or is it China or and so on. So it also brings a lot of questions. I'll show you later on, but this is also the first thought that you should have in your mind. And at the end, well, prepare the information about your company. So your current situation, what does it look like, your business goals, the expected support that you would be looking for. Is it outsourcing, or you would like to build some custom software development, like, for example, MVP, or is it something bigger, like managed services, and you would like to share delivery risks with service provider, or maybe you're just looking for trainings of IT for your staff. So, for example, you are changing from the old method of project management, like waterfall, to agile. So you would be needed some kind of training from professionals who has got hands-on experience. So all these things are important to prepare before you actually go for the first date. And while you are on the first date, well, ask the questions or gather basic information in the beginning about your potential partner. So who is it, how they've been developing so far, what's their strategy of growth, what's their past experience working with similar companies in the same country or Western countries or somewhere else, where the company is based. Is it local, or is it well located somewhere in Central Europe, for example? if you are based in London or Berlin or any, let's say, Western European country, it would mean in terms of flight distance or approach of the company. Cultural things are also important in such cooperation. Are they located in your country? Maybe they would have the local office there. Maybe that would help to sign later on all the documentation that is based on your local law, that is not mixed with international law. Maybe that would be easier for you. That goes also into the question of the insurance, if the company is insured or not, where it's insured, what's the level of insurance of such company. If they've got any plans for expansion, for example. I mean, they may not be in your country located with the office itself now, but they may have some strategic plans for expansion. Good to know that. Ask about the strong and weak points. Ask about not only the good projects that they did, but also those that didn't work out. They should have some thoughts about that. They should have. They should give you some insights, what was wrong and why they actually came over that. Knowledge base and experience, obviously, that would relate to the type of project or type of business that we are doing. Checking references, I will tell a few words about that in a couple of minutes. Do a thorough financial background check. You may use either internal or external service provider as well to do that. But if the company is fair and they would provide you at least basic information how they've been developing in terms of their finances, if they are stable, if well, they can borrow the money from banks, for example, and so on, in terms of large amounts of money and investments needed to ramp up with a team for you, and so on. How they communicate, what tools do they use? That's also important. Maybe there are tools, or like for example Skype for Business that we are using in your company, and the other company has got the similar system. So then the question of licenses goes out, so you can communicate easily. Or I don't know, maybe you prefer Google Hangouts or Skype, whatever else, WebEx is good. Good to think about it at the beginning, so you communicate on the same level. Ask how they manage their projects, what kind of tools they use, what kind of methodologies. Again, if it's something that you know, or maybe something is it something new to you, maybe you would need some extra training before in terms of any new methodologies or latest methodologies. And last but not least, what is their responsiveness and reaction time? How they respond to your questions, if they are service-oriented and they're okay, to contact anytime. Sometimes, in terms of time differences, it's important to be able to be contacted even in the evening. There should be such one person that would respond at least to the first questions. Then think of the needs on one side and the resources on the other side. Think of what you need actually, and if the second side has got resources to fill it, or maybe to support you with answering the questions you may have. What tasks you can solve together. They should be able to help you to solve your business issues with the skilled people. Maybe they could improve your business somehow. Maybe they've got some inside knowledge. Maybe they've got some experience from past exactly in the business that you are working in. Well, obviously, how can they reduce your costs, your business costs? Outsourcing is also about reducing costs. So one of the, let's say, obvious things. But another one that is very often forgotten is how to improve, how they can improve the quality. Ask about the quality procedures as well and how they work, so they can raise actually the quality, for example, of the code that is being written for you or for your clients. Are they willing to start some kind of proof of concept to prove their skills? Well, if they say no, we would rather go, straight to the big project, then it would be probably kind of risky. It would be good simply to have a short proof of concept at the beginning to start, to get to know each other, to do some initial knowledge transfer, and then decide. Both sides can decide later on if they would like to work together or go into the next level of relationship together. You could do also, as a start, a short time and material analysis project. Well, you might have some kind of initial R&D project, and then the service provider would use 2 or 3 people, very experienced, architects, business analysts, to support you with some ideas, and then proving in that way that they can communicate in right way, that they can provide you good insight into the project that you may be working on later on. Again, last but not least, remember to ask for a non-disclosure agreement. It's the first date, you don't know each other a lot, so it's better to keep your IP rights safe. And signing NDA, it's just a matter of minutes, really. There are really standard documents, short ones, basic ones, but that could prevent leak of information and leak of the information that you consider as your IP rights. Remember about it at this point. So, in terms of competences, think of, well, which competences fit into the services you are looking for. Very often there are many of them, starting from let's say regular software development. Some companies join that with business intelligence, with ERP. Some do software development in .NET and then PLC programming or automation processes and so on. Look for such competences that would fit into the area of your work and the potential of the clients that you work with as well. Check the references from well-known brands. They would show that there is a trust from the big brands into the company. But I would say even more important are the references from the local customers that you may not know. They may be local, they may be working on a local market, and but they are interesting in terms of case-by-case studies. Ask about that, read about it, maybe ask for contact references as well. Call to such references, and then see what's the relation between the company and the service provider we are looking for. Well, so we went through that initial stage of relationship. Now let's see how we can develop it. This is the moment when you would be looking for choosing one of the standard models, I would say, of cooperation in outsourcing model. So either you would be looking for some software development teams or some kind of dedicated solution, or you would go straight away to managed services. You would start building and ramping up with a bigger team. You would, do shared delivery risks. We would have multiple projects and so on. Usually, it's step by step, and you would start with 1 or 2 or 3 people, several people supporting you, and then it could grow to a bigger team. You would probably go or should remember about some phases of software development team delivery. This is something that is, I would say, quite basic. The engagement moment with high-level business understanding business needs of the project, of your company, high-level requirements, agreeing on some approaches for communication, for team management. There would be team choice, and you would be signing service orders, agreements, and so on. You would go then into discovery mode, both sides, where setting up team and tools for cooperation will be done. You would be doing some joint development of tasks and like possible proof of concept. Then there would be, and this is known as kind of knowledge transfer. This is the moment when the service provider would be gaining a lot of information, business information also, about what you do and how you simply earn the money. Delivery, then it would be up to the agreed methods. It may be agile, it may be, let's say, old-fashioned waterfall. It may be up to expectation management as well. You would be asking questions how to improve their cooperation all the time. There should be a person on the other side, not only account manager, but also kind of project coordinator or product owner, proxy or project manager, who is responsible for what is being delivered to you. Well, continuous support based on, there may be SLA to keep the performance at some agreed level. There may be maintenance, new features coming on. You may be building up or ramping down the team, which is also another important feature to ask at the beginning if the company is able and how quickly is able to ramp down with the team. Let's say you've got 20 people and then suddenly realize that, well, in a month or 2 months you will need only 12 or 10. So if the other company could ramp down, and how quickly. For the delivery management, you would probably go through, I would say, kind of standard project delivery mode. So again, operational setup, all the tools, communication frameworks, development environment setups. For delivery, working in Agile is probably the most used at the moment. Kickoff, iterations, continuous sprint development, together with constant quality control, and then releases every time that we agree on, either every second week or third week, with continuous support as well. Project management, you may go with Agile or Scrum only, but usually it's hybrid. Hybrid meaning that you would agree with the service provider what are the best practices you would like to keep, and then you would agree on some kind of joint project management methodology. You would also like to check and see the best standards in project management that the service provider keeps. Ask about if they are certified, if they speak your language, either it is English, German. The important thing is to set up at the beginning as well the information, what's the project language. So all the documentation and communication is done in one language. Check if they use best project management and communication tools, agree on that. Check if the service provider has got some internal time and staff reporting system, if they have got some defined processes, internal processes between departments. That's also important because that would help and foster the cooperation between you and the service provider. Well, let's say that it's happy, and then you go into the marriage mode. So in in that time, well, you would probably know each other for some time, and you would be looking for some benefits, not only for you, but also for the partner. And the partner would be looking for the benefits for you. You would be looking, I mean, definitely for the visible business growth, for more competitive market solutions and market offer. You would simply focus on the business that you are delivering. And there would be you would know that there is a company on your side, a partner, not only service provider at this point, that can support you with any technological question that may come up. They would also know at this point how you develop, what you sell, what's your business strategies. They would know quite a lot about the company you run, and that should help them as well to build know-how, to build their experience, and keep on and improve on the latest technologies. It's their responsibility at this time to keep, to be in the mode of improvement. They should, go to the technology first. They should, inform you what's new, what's good, how to improve your business so it works better, faster. I mean, this is a joint cooperation. You should remember that this is now partnership. It's not only a service provider that works, by the hours. They would also have a lot of influence into your business and how you develop. Listen to them. This is that time. So you may even go for to look for business partners together. You may have more competitive offer. You may have some strict business cases you'll be showing to your customers. You may be using the senior people from the partner side to go with you to some business presentations to explain how something works. You would be building, obviously, the know-how of both companies and hopefully increasing revenues at that moment. As in every marriage, there may happen some quarrels, and then it's up to you, both sides, if you could avoid them. Remember that the details are important. The details are very often written in small letters, and you should not forget about it. So before you start, actually, define what it means working hours. 8 hours, 7 hours, 7.5 hours. In UK, for example, it's 8 hours working time plus non-paid lunch break. It may mean something different in Germany, in Poland, in Bulgaria, wherever else. Is overtime allowed or not? If it's allowed, when it can be done and how much does it cost? Again, who decides, for example, if the overtime hours can be taken? You may be also reporting hours, or the team that provides the services to you may be reporting hours in JIRA or any other project management system like TFS, for example, and then you would have another report coming from the internal system of the service provider. Should that match? Or you would be taking only the JIRA reported hours into account for the end of month payment. Again, this is something to write down in the service order that you would be working out at the beginning. What holidays do you celebrate? Do you celebrate in the same time as the service provider or not, or your partner or not? Do they work in, let's say, in Poland, there's a kind of long May weekend at the beginning. The question is if you are working then or not. There are bank holidays in UK that you should remember about that are completely different and off from any Polish, for example, days off. So again, try to match it according to what is needed. Preferred contact hours. What time do you actually start to work every day? What time is the daily meeting? And so on. If it's 8 to 2 to 4, or is it 5 to, or is it 9 to 5? Again, small but important thing that you should remember in terms of communication. What does it mean, project management and team coordination? Who does the typical project management? Who keeps the backlog? Who looks after the performance of the team and resolves all the technical aspects? And who actually manages the team itself on the partner side? Is there a dedicated project manager or project manager proxy, or maybe a team coordinator? Again, setting up subtle differences, but they may be important later on. What does it mean, standard hardware and software setup? You may have the standard hardware setup may mean for you the latest version of Mac. And then for the service provider or your partner, it may mean Dell laptop with i5 core and 8 gigabytes of RAM. Is it the same? No, it's not the same. But both would say that it's standard for them. So set it up before you start, and so the team has got simply proper tools to run the project. Another point and important are the business trips. How often should happen? Who goes where and who covers the costs? Who deals with the flights, hotels, bookings? What's the length or minimal length of a business trip? Sometimes it's wise to have the business trip of a team for at least 2 or 3 days, not just to in and back the same day, because it may not be productive. So again, think of it and put it in the service order in the beginning. I'm keeping telling about the NDA and IP rights, but this is important. So again, set it up at the very beginning. And if you do not manage to sign the general contract or framework contract before you start the project itself, have at least service order signed, like extended service order, where you put the most important information about the cooperation, and that is signed by both sides. For the framework contract, you may work it out in the next couple of weeks even, but you should have, both sides should have at least one document signed that they agree on some kind of work, and they follow some let's say basic rules that we've been that I've been just mentioned. So I hope that once you just resolve all the misunderstandings, you would live happily ever after with your partner, not service provider at this point, but partner. And well, that's the short story. I mean, definitely we would like to tell you, and I would like to tell you a little bit more in some other webinars. We will be organizing them, and you will get information from us. Well, I've got now we've got some time for questions. I've got one question. Could you explain how the proof of concept should look like, and can you give an example? Well, I could give an example based on some case studies, recent case studies that we did. This is based on 2 proof of concepts. First is just an internal project of of a service of a partner, of a customer. They would be doing also some trainings to our internal staff, so they are familiar with the product, the knowledge, and then they would be doing a 2-week long project, internal project that would be verified. The project is well specified. We will know what to do and how to do. We will be trained for that, and after let's say a month of training and initial project, there would be a discussion if there are any faults, any good things, bad things, communication issues, and so on. So this is one example. Another example is internal R&D project, a completely new idea that we just started. That would also take about 2 to 3 weeks. There would be the ideation part with a senior architect, business analyst, that would sit together with the client and discuss the possible technologies, possibilities of doing the project. They would look for the options, how to develop that in the future. So that's both do not take longer than 2 weeks, really. Both are time and material based. So there is almost no risk of losing a lot of money from the client side, and there is a big opportunity on the service provider side to show their skills and also gain the knowledge that is important for the beginning of cooperation. So if you are looking into the outsourcing services, think of such project or part of a project to be done with the service provider at the beginning. They would learn a lot, and you would have some tangible effects after 2 weeks, 2 weeks time. So, well, I would like to thank you for your attention. You may write an email anytime, if you've got any other questions. I'm also a frequent visitor to many European cities like Berlin, Frankfurt, or Munich, London. So I can meet you there as well, and just let me know, and we could have a chat about that. We could have a chat about generally the science of outsourcing and some other aspects, important aspects that may be meaningful for when choosing the outsourcing partner. Well, thank you very much, and bye-bye.